Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious sweet cheddar biscuits. You only need one bowl and a few ingredients. They are moist, they are sweet, they are delicious. Look at those. Let me show you how to make them. So here what I have is a muffin tin that I've already lined with parchment paper or paper cups. And you want to have that ready and then just set aside. You also want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. Now here are my dry ingredients. It's basically just equal parts of coconut flour, almond flour, some salt, and baking powder. That's it. Those are all the dry ingredients you're going to need. I have some butter that I have melted. This recipe calls for eggs, but also egg whites. And this right here is some coconut cream. The recipe calls for originally for sour cream, and I've used sour cream as well. This is some mild cheddar cheese. It's important that the cheddar cheese is mild because you don't want the cheese flavor to overpower the sweetness of these biscuits. And then here I'm using my favorite sweetener lately. It's the golden monk fruit erythritol blend that I've recently started using, and I love it. There's no aftertaste, you guys. So all I'm going to do here is just make sure that all of my dry ingredients are combined before I add any of the other ingredients, just to make sure there's no lumps. This is a really easy recipe, so it doesn't really even matter if there is lumps or not. You want to add your cheddar cheese first before you dump in any of the other ingredients, because you want to make sure that the cheddar cheese combines into the flour or flours. And this is going to make it so that the cheese is going to be all throughout the muffin. It really helps with the texture mostly in this recipe than the taste, because you can't really taste the cheese. That's why it's important you use the mild cheddar for this recipe anyways. So the next thing I'm going to add here are my eggs and my egg whites. Just beat them up a little bit before you add them in. You can do like a kind of like a well in the center of the dry ingredients there. And you just kind of start dumping everything in there. The next thing you're going to add is your melted butter. Mine is almost 100% melted, which is fine, as long as it's not cold, or you need it to be more than room temperature, so you do need to melt it. Then I'm going in with my coconut cream, and I did, like I mentioned earlier, you can use sour cream, you can use heavy whipping cream, you can use full fat coconut milk. I'm using coconut cream, so either of those three will work the same. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're going to add our sweetener, and this is 2 tablespoons of that Lakanto golden sugar substitute. And that's it. You pretty much just make sure everything is combined. I'm not even using a whisk here, you guys. I just have like a small spatula, and it may seem like the batter is kind of runny, but it's going to come together. Remember that coconut flour is very absorbent, so it's going to thicken up this batter. It almost looks like a cake batter. You can also add maybe like a pinch of vanilla if you wanted to, because since this is a sweet muffin, I find that I didn't need it. But that's an optional ingredient if you wanted to add it. So you can see here the batter is already thickening up. And again, make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Now I'm ready to put these in the cavities of my muffin tin. I have 9 of the muffin tins lined, and for some reason I've made this recipe several times. Sometimes I get 9 muffins, sometimes I get 10 and I do fill them up to the top pretty well. So this is my 1/4 cup measure. That is where I had my sugar, my Lakanto. So that's what I use. I fill up the 1/4 cup, as you can see, you know, a great heaping 1/4 cup of the mix, and just plop it right into the cavity of the muffins. And you are gonna need to set aside a little bit more of that Lakanto sweetener that we used in the batter, because I like to sprinkle some on top before I bake them. I don't know, it just gives it an extra touch of sweetness. And you can also dial back the sweetener if you don't want them too sweet. It depends, you know. I don't really have a palate anymore for a lot of sugar, so, and I use 2 tablespoons. But you can also use another type of sweetener. You can use any granulated sweetener that you like. But I'm kind of obsessed with that Lakanto sweetener lately, and my local Walmart started carrying the sweetener, so every time I go, I pick up it's in a small bag. It's like a 1 pound bag, but every time I go, I pick up a bag to make sure I don't run out. So just make sure that these all have the same amount of batter, which is what I'm doing here. Just making sure that all the muffins are going to be the same size. Just do the best you can. And I could already tell here that I was going to have extra. So this batter gave me 10 muffins. Not upset about that. So, yep, I have to go get another paper liner. And while I'm doing that, I want to take the opportunity to thank all of you that are subscribed to my channel and that watch my videos. I really appreciate every one of you. And please, if this is your first time coming across my channel, hit that like button and subscribe. And also there is a notification bell that you can click as well that will indicate to you every time I have a new video, and I upload these once a week. So if you like videos like these and you're looking for low carb recipes, and I do mostly muffins, cookies, cakes, mostly sweets, then please do. I really appreciate you all. And share the videos as well and the recipes with those around you that you think I'll be able to take advantage. So these are ready for the oven. But before I put them in the oven, I take my sweetener and about 3/4 of a teaspoon. That's a teaspoon measure right there. So about 3/4 of a teaspoon. And just kind of sprinkle them over the top, just lightly. And I was really surprised when I created this recipe, because I thought that the cheese taste was going to come through. But because I'm using that mild cheddar cheese, there really isn't much taste of the cheese, but it does give texture and you can taste it a tiny bit. So you have the best of both worlds. Now these are going to bake depending on your oven. Everybody's oven is different. Anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes. So you want to check them at 20 minutes. Okay, you guys. So here are my sweet cheddar biscuits, or my sweet muffins. They smell amazing. I'm going to try one. I already know what they taste like because I've made them before. But I just kind of want you guys to see. the texture of these. Oh God, the light is not working with me. There we go, maybe that's better. These are so light, so fluffy. You can actually, you can eat these with butter. You can just eat it alone. I find like I don't need any butter. I'm just gonna cut it in half here so I can taste it. Look at this, look at how light these are. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus a little bit so you guys can see. Maybe take off some of the light. Look at this, it's fluffy. They're not dry at all. My mouth is watering. The cheese is all throughout because we added the cheese before the wet ingredients. We added and mixed it in with the almond flour and the coconut flour. So the cheese isn't just all on top or on the bottom. It's really nice and moist. So let's give it a try. Oh my God, these are amazing. They're sweet, but they're not so sweet. They remind me of a cornbread. I love cornbread. So hey, you can call this a cornbread too. Even the texture is very like cornbread, but they're really, really good with some butter, or even if you have like some low carb jam, some kind of jam, or just like this. I like to eat them just like this. So. Delicious. I want to talk with my mouth full. These are really, really good. And I haven't had anybody try them that hasn't liked them in my family. They're great meal prep as well, because you can maybe bake like you don't even have to do a double batch depending on how big your family is. It makes from 9 to 10 muffins. Depending on the size, you can make them smaller, you can make them as mini muffins, you can make them larger. Amazing. Anyways, I hope you guys try this recipe. You're gonna love it. Delicious. See you again in my next video, and thanks for watching.